Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Emily. My favorite makeup today is this. This is my Becca Light Chasers highlighter for face and eye. This is in the shade Champagne Dream Flashes Bellini. That's what I'm wearing today. This is a really beautiful, like shimmery champagne-y, but there's also like a pink to it. But it's got a lovely glow to it. It goes on subtle with a brush, and if you want to sort of enhance the color, I sort of tap a little extra on with my finger just to get a little bit more of a glow. And now, onto the video. So today's video is going to be my first impressions of this. This is the Kristen Leanne Urban Decay Kaleidoscope Dream Eyeshadow Palette. I honestly saw RawBeautyKristi do a video on this, and the pigmentation of the shadows looked so good that I immediately went out and ordered it. I did not intend to buy this palette when I saw it online. I didn't think the colors looked that special, but I really wanted to pick it up after I saw that tutorial because frankly the colors looked gorgeous. This palette retails for $38 and it is limited edition. It comes in this plastic case that's got the names of all of the colors on the back. You're also going to get a brush in this. This is what the actual palette itself looks like. It's pretty cute. It's not super big. It's got this really neat sort of it looks like they've taken a lot of purple and pink lipsticks and sort of swirled them together. When you open up the palette, this is what you get. You get this huge mirror up here, and then you get all of these colors. I think the layout of the palette is kind of weird. I admittedly don't particularly care for it. The brush is kind of cute and pink. I'm certainly going to try that out. But I'm going to do a swatch of all of the colors on my arm so you can see what that looks like. Before I do that though, I just want to show you exactly how my eyeshadows are laid out in the palette. As you can see, especially on like this pink shade here, the pan is not in there straight. Like if this were how I could have depotted the Heavy Metals palette, this would have been amazing because these look like they're gonna fall out if I'm not careful. So I'm not super excited about the packaging on this, and I don't feel like this was put together very well. I do think the colors are very pretty, so I'm hoping that they will swatch just as nice as they look. But to be honest, there's already some squish damage on that purple shade on the bottom die because it looks like it wasn't put into the spot available for it correctly. If I end up really liking this palette and decide to keep it, I sort of wonder if I might pop these out of the palette and put them in something else because they don't look very stable in here and I'd be afraid they're going to fall out. Also, I feel like there's a lot of wasted space in this palette too. Urban Decay, you and your packaging, you're not doing so well right now. So this top shade here, this is LCW. This is very smooth, glides on really easily. This shade here, this beautiful blue, this is called TCM. This one's a little bit thicker and chunky, but the effect is really quite beautiful. These two shades, this is part of that split pan, that circle that's split in half. The bluish shade is called Leo, and the pinky shade is called Brixton. Brixton actually looks very much like Cube from the Anastasia Subculture palette, only I'm hoping it won't hard pan as fast as that did. Underneath that purple we have Dye, and then this metallic foily finish one, this coppery color, that is called Corona. This is also pretty chunky, but it glides on very smoothly, so I have high hopes for that. Over on the other side, this pink shade, that's called Spitfire. That goes on a little bit sheer, but it's still pretty nice. That Gold Stay Gold, that is an amazing color. It's absolutely beautiful. Taijin, the orange shade underneath it, that's swatched very poorly, so I'm not sure how that one's going to turn out. That's the orange. It's just not doing anything for me. Lime Time beneath it, that one is very beautiful and shimmery and foily. I do like that. 13th Floor is the black. Honestly, RawBeautyKristi swatch of that looked fabulous. Mine is somewhat less so, but it's still a fairly opaque black, but it's not anything special as far as I can tell. What makes these special to me is the beautiful metallic shimmery finish to them, but they're not like the same as like the Urban Decay Heavy Metals. They're just shiny in a very beautiful way. And it also makes them kind of unique with my Urban Decays because a lot of those are sort of like a flatter matte. So I don't think I have any exact duplicates to any of my other palettes, but let's go find out. So in terms of duplicates, the top two colors, the Spitfire and the LCW, I actually duped out of this palette. This is the Urban Decay The Fun palette. It's got an octopus on it. This is the shade Deep End from this palette. And this is the shade Fishnet. So they are essentially the same as the ones in the Kristen Leanne. There's not a lot of difference there at all. The Kristen Leanne palette, that blue-green is slightly more blue, but otherwise it's pretty much the same. I couldn't find an exact duplicate for Stay Gold. The closest was Glory from the Heavy Metals palette, but Twisted is not super different from it either. But Stay Gold is an actually really amazing shadow, I have to say. This dark blue over here, that is the shade TRM. I duped that against the Jean-Michel Basquiat palette. That is in the color Untitled. That is a matte shadow as opposed to a shimmer shadow, but the color is very similar. The duochrome shades I can't dupe in an Urban Decay palette, but the light pink shade is very similar to Cube out of the Anastasia Beverly Hills Subculture palette. I just don't get very good payoff on it, and you're not going to be able to see it very well in my hand. I don't really have anything that approximates that Leo shade. So Leo and Brixton are a little bit more unique to this palette, plus I think they'd be good as like a topper shade, so they are very pretty. I don't have a duplicate for Taijin in any of my Urban Decay shadow palettes. I'm certain I could find something in another one. That shadow does not perform very well as a swatch. We'll see how it goes on the eye. Then over here, this Lime Time shade, I duped that with EXU from the Basquiat palette, so that's a very, very similar color, same amount of shimmer, same undertones. So the shade Freak in the Electric palette, that's this green right here, that's got more of a blue undertone to it, but it has a similar shimmer if you're looking for a similar shimmer to that Lime Time. And then this is 13th Floor, and that is against LES in the Basquiat palette as well. I actually think the Basquiat palette black looks better in my personal opinion, but I don't use a lot of black eyeshadow, so I don't care that much. This purple dye shade, I also compared this with the shade Druggie from the Afterdark palette. That's this purple right here. It's similar, but Druggie is a shinier and brighter color. And then this over here is Freakshow, which is also from the Fun palette. So a similar effect, not exactly the same. The color on dye is definitely a lot darker. And then to my eyes, that coppery shade down at the bottom, I felt like Corona was the closest to Demo in the Heavy Metals palette, but it's not an exact match either. So you can dupe out this palette with other Urban Decay eyeshadows pretty easily. They won't be exactly the same, but you can get the same effect. So far, I'm not super impressed with the packaging, and these are dupable colors from my own collection, but if you'd missed out on some of these older Urban Decay palettes, some of the really cool colors are, you know, reformulated within here. I'm also curious to see what the performance of these shadows is, because like the Basquiat palette's okay, but it doesn't perform amazingly well, and some of my other stuff's just really old, so I don't use it all that often. But I'm curious to see how this goes, so let's try to do a look. Not super psyched about that Taijin shade, but I sort of feel like I need to see what it looks like on my eye because it might look really great on the eye and then it'd totally be worth keeping. Try to put that on my lid and bring it up into my crease just a little bit. Basically the first go over the eye, I was like, this is not good at all. But actually it built up very nicely. There's no fallout. It's not like powdery in the pan or anything. It's pretty easy to work with. You just you do have to layer this a little bit. Alright, so that shade actually goes on pretty well. I'm sorry for doubting you. It does look nice on the eyes. You got to get that base layer of it down before any more product will stick. But it's not like kicking up in the pan at all. It barely even looks like I touched it. So I'm actually pretty pleased about that. It went on pretty nicely. Keep looking at my hand to try to figure out what I want to use. That Stay Gold shade looks amazing. Alright, I think I'm going to take a little bit of Spitfire and I'm going to take that on the outer corner of my eye in this outer V area. This shadow applies amazingly. So right now I think I'm going to take some of Brixton, that's that Transformer shade, and try to put that in my inner corner highlight. Yeah, Brixton's basically accomplishing everything I wish Cube would do, because Cube in the Subculture palette on me already has hard pan, and it's almost impossible to use the shadow. That's a bummer. You could also probably dupe out Brixton with the Kat Von D Alchemist palette in the pink opal shade or the Anastasia Beverly Hills Moonchild palette in pink heart. I think now I'm going to take a little of Stay Gold, which is this really beautiful gold here, and put that on the center of my lid. I'm going to take a little more of Taijin and blend that up into the crease. I'm actually really pleased with how this turned out. It's like a beautiful sunset on my eyes. I was really tempted to go immediately like blue and purple and green, and I will do another video with a look like that, just not today. But I really do enjoy how these are going on. I sort of tried to pick the colors that I wasn't sure I really needed to keep this palette for, but I'm actually really impressed with the performance of the shadows. So final thoughts on this Urban Decay Kristen Leanne palette. I'm really impressed with the color payoff on the colors that I chose so far. You can dupe this out of other Urban Decay palettes, so if you have all of the palettes that I talked about today, you might not need to pick this up, but because the performance of the shadows was really, really very good, I'm considering just maybe decluttering some of the older palettes the next time I go through my stuff, because frankly, this performed really beautifully. They were very easy to blend, and the color payoff is really beautiful. So I'm impressed. The formula on this is really good. This is one of the better Urban Decay palettes I've tried out in the last couple of years, so good job. I promise later on this week I'll post another video doing a look with different colors. Just today my face has had enough of eye makeup remover. I'm not going to be doing it again today. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying the content on this channel. If so, please subscribe. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I'll see you all soon. Bye!